Welcome to the very first episode of Art of Touring, the podcast, episode 1. I am the Sizz Dog. I'll be talking to touring musicians, performers, jugglers, mime artists, anyone who will talk to me about life on the road as a touring musician. As I said, I am the Sizz Dog. I am your host. I play in a band, playing in multiple bands actually. I'm the lead singer of Smokestack Rhino. I moonlight with the Passouts, do covers gigs with the Cedar Duo, Clone the Radio, another band I play in, the occasional Pearl Jam tribute show. I do solo gigs, duo gigs, oh my God, weddings, acoustic gigs. Wherever I need it, I'll show up with a PA, dodgy PA that is, some lights from Bunnings, and I'll put on a show. Your dad's got a 60th, give me $300, I will show up. All right, this week on the podcast, I sat down with the Sunset Junkies from Brisbane. They're a blues rock band, yeah? They tour nationally and they play the Blues Festival circuit in Australia. They've recently gone through a rebranding, however. They used to be called Byron Short and the Sunset Junkies. So if you want to check out their older stuff, you can find them if you search for that. But now they are going by just Sunset Junkies. And we have a good chat. This was recorded at the Cherry Bar, a gig that we did with them a couple of weeks ago. We just set up shop in the back there, in the back of the Cherry Bar. And we talked about maintaining relationships while you're on the road, the struggle of family, work commitments, all of these things, trying to be a working musician on the road. We talk about our first bands in high school. We touch on the difficulties of life on the road as a touring musician. So, yeah, we really get into it. Now let's have a listen from our sponsor. Art of Touring is proudly brought to you this week by Cup of Tea and Toast. Are you hungry and thirsty? Then pop in some bread into a toaster, chuck on the kettle and make yourself a nice cup of tea and spread on some delicious jam on that toast for a snack that will hit the spot. Cup of Tea and Toast, the snack that is as good as a cup of tea and toast. Spread it on! All right, don't forget to listen to Art of Touring on Soundcloud, who host the show and enable me to bring this episode via iTunes. Go to soundcloud.com/Art of Touring and hit follow. All right, that's enough out of me. Let's get into the conversation with the Sunset Junkies. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the very first episode of Art of Touring. Today, the premiere episode, I will be talking to Sunset Junkies. So we have Byron Short here. We have Jezza on the bass.
G'day.
And Tricky on the drums.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks, dude. We're sitting in, it appears to be the Elvis room at the back of Cherry Bar.
Indeed.
Something like that.
Yeah, this is the back bar at Cherry. So where did you boys grow up? Jeremy, where are you from, mate?
I'm from south side of Brisbane, where I've always been.
The
All
south
the
side.
scum. That's where I'm from. Scum of the earth.
You were Sydney originally, though, weren't you?
I went there for a few years.
Oh.
Anastasia Palaszczuk country, right?
That's it, man.
Ah.
Palashchuk.
Yeah, dirty political slop. That's him.
Yeah, right. And was there any musicians in your family, Jeremy?
Yeah, not really. Like, just because I grew up in the church. My parents sang in choirs and shit. That's kind of it. So that's the only musical influence in my family.
Right.
So
You're the black sheep.
that's it.
Yeah.
Gladly. Proudly.
Yeah. What about you, Byron? Where are you from, mate?
I was born in a pirate ship.
Is that right?
Well, almost, actually. I was born on the Gold Coast, and soon after, my dad actually did buy a boat, a very big boat, 100-foot long, 10 sails, a 100-year-old sailing vessel, and we pretty much moved up the coast with it. So we lived in Early Beach for a while, doing safaris around the Whitsundays.
Yeah.
And then ended up in Cairns, and I was raised pretty much in Cairns. Yeah, did all my schooling there up in scuzzy old Cairns, and learned all the lingo, and explains a lot, I guess. But yeah,
Is it as hot up there as everybody says it is? Or
fucking
what?
disgusting.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's tropics too, man. It's humidity central.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like walking in a bathtub.
Oh my goodness.
And I always said that it's a great place to visit,
yeah.
but it's a shit place to grow up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because once you've done the reef and the Daintree and the whatever and all the beaches and the nice shit,
Mm.
there's just
Not much culture out
drugs
there.
and depression.
Oh, well, that's not good, man. No.
And music. I did get into music,
There
and
you go.
it definitely gave me a positive place to focus my juju.
Yeah, right. Perfect place to grow up for music then, I suppose, because
Yeah,
once you-
literally nothing else to do.
Yeah, right on. And what about you, Tricky? Where are you from, big fella?
Have been on the north side of Brisbane literally my entire life. I've never lived anywhere else.
Yep.
Which is funny too, because Mum, growing up, her dad was in the Air Force, so she grew up all over the country. She lived in Western Australia, Melbourne, Sydney, and I don't know whether it's one of those crossover things of a generation where sort of, one generation gets a talent, one generation doesn't.
Mm.
It's the same with travel. She lived everywhere and I've lived nowhere.
So you got the talent? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, my mum got the talent.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
Fantastic. What did Tricky? I'll direct this one to you. We'll stay on you for a minute. What did you listen to when you were growing up in high school, and what kind of musical influences did you have when you first started? In your formative years, what were the bands that stick out to you?
I'm really glad you said high school, so let's stick with that.
Let's do it.
Because before that, it gets a bit embarrassing.
No, let's hear it, man.
I remember doing this for a TV thing as well. The first CD I ever owned was Hanson.
Yes.
That's a banger, though, man. Was that the one with Mbop on it?
Yeah, of course it was.
Dude, I've
It was that
always
first
wanted-
one. It had the symbol on the front. It was like the name buried into it
Always
somehow.
wanted to fuck Taylor Hanson.
Yeah, those
Oh,
chicks
man,
are
who didn't?
hot, man.
Who didn't?
I don't know. who that is.
Hottest chick.
It was, hottest chick on the planet.
Hang on, I thought Hanson was dudes.
Nah.
What?
Hanson was
You're
three
breaking my
little
balls,
kids.
man. You're breaking my balls.
I'm so confused right
Don't
now.
wreck this for me. It's my childhood.
Breaking my balls, man.
Wow.
You know,
And when you got past the Hanson phase,
got past the Hanson phase. So I
Oh.
think the first installation was Regurgitator.
oh wow.
That's what started to turn me.
What record? Was it Unit?
Yes.
Mm,
Yeah, man.
Song formerly known as
No, what was
Polyester Girl.
no, not Polyester Girl.
Sucked a lot of
the other one.
something
Black
to
Beans.
get
Was
right.
it Black Bugs? I got killed by black bugs on my video game.
Oh yes, I remember seeing them play that at a festival when I was 17. That was out of control.
Yeah, you must be a lot older than me.
I am 38 years young.
Oh, I only just turned 30.
There you go, man.
Yeah, so that'd be roughly correct as well. I was about 10 years old when I heard that track.
Oh,
There you go.
Sick.
there you go, man.
There you go. And then it started to escalate from there. The next one after that was Freak on a Leash by Korn, which is off the Follow the Leader album.
Okay.
And that's where I really started to turn. Then it
Mm.
was Slipknot. And then it just went downhill from there.
Yeah, right on.
In
Pure
Flames, Opeth.
Oh,
It
So
started
a
to
lot
get
of
more
stuff
hectic.
there. And so with your drumming, who would like your main kind of guy? Like, if I could nail that.
All right, my biggest influence in drumming would be Morgan Rose from Seven Dust.
Okay.
Dude is a beast,
Mm.
absolute beast. But groove central as well. Like hits like a demon, but can just sit in that pocket like an absolute animal.
Yeah, nice.
I love it.
That's awesome, man. What about you, Jez? What did you listen to growing up, mate?
Yeah, when I started getting into music for myself, it was just punk or nothing. So, punk rock, Rancid, No Effects, all those guys.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Did you have
So-
any like mates that said, "Oh, check this band out," or any family members or anything?
Yeah, actually, mate from high school sort of told me that he made a little mixtape
Yeah.
of just a few different punk bands. Said, have a listen to this. I'm
Mm.
like, holy shit, blew my mind. I'm
Yeah,
like,
nice.
This is just as angry as I am. This is great.
Yeah.
So,
That really spoke to you.
yeah, that's right. So that's first band I started was a punk band as well. So just straight into it.
And you were the front man in that, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, dog.
Screaming,
Yeah, look
playing
at you.
bass.
What was the name of the first band that you were in?
Lame.
Lame.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Shitty Beatles.
Yes.
They suck.
Yes. So it's not just a clever name. Oh, what about you, Byron? What did you listen to when you were coming up, mate?
Young, rosy-cheeked little
Byron
cherub.
Short, yeah.
A lot is the very short answer.
Mm.
But, you know, I got into Elvis. I got into Bob Dylan, Donovan, lots of folky sort of stuff when I first started to play the guitar.
Sure.
Then I got into hip hop.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, I was sort of right into Snoop Dogg. I bought the Dogfather. That was a mad album.
Yeah.
I bought All Eyes on Me by Tupac. And then on kind of a whim, I went into a record store and there was a cool, weird-looking cover there with a dude with like crab claws, and it was Silverchair Freak Show. I bought that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, right
and
on.
I became a rock and roller.
Yeah, straight after that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But you know, I studied classical music and jazz and all sorts of shit, so I'm just a mozzo.
Yeah, right on, man. And so, was there any specific event in your life that led you to becoming a musician and saying, yes, this is what I want to do as my, calling?
Elvis Presley.
Elvis.
Yeah, I think I was 5 or 6 or some shit.
Yep.
And Dad used to love Elvis, and he had videotapes or records or something like that. And as soon as I heard or saw him, I can't really remember it, but I thought, man, that dude must get a lot of pussy.
Wow. The great motivator. The ladies. My goodness. And so when did the band start?
I think we could probably just go back to when it was Byron Short and the Sunset Junkies.
Sure.
So I've had a bit of a storied career, not a successful one as yet, but it's been fun. Did a handful of solo albums, and I created the Sunset Junkies as my backing band to sort of help me recreate this stuff live.
Mm.
And there's been a lot of different people pass through this band. And when I found these two friggin' reprobates, I thought, these are my dudes.
Yep.
And so we became a band. We
Nice.
are Sunset Junkies now.
And so the songwriting... no,
Sorry
please.
to cut in.
No.
What the fuck is a reprobate?
Look it up.
I'm a
Mic
little bit
drop.
predisposed at the moment.
Like a kind of like a distraught kind of character. That's what I feel reprobate kind of means. Hey, and so I did ask this before to Jeremy, and his first band name was Lame. What was your first band that you played in, Byron? What was it called?
Well, I had my first band when I was 10.
Yep.
And we were Dogs on the Moon. And we played Nirvana, Creedence Clearwater Revival,
Sure.
and the Cranberries.
Wow. Zombie.
Yeah, that's the song.
That's the song. Man. That is the song. Wow. And they were called Dogs on the Moon. That name still stands up today. That'd be good. if
I've
it's-
had some bangers over the
Sure.
years. There's Aftermath, and there was
Yeah.
Mindfield.
Mindfield. Okay.
Yeah,
Instead of
featuring members of
Minefield.
Drunk Mums.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've all sort of spread our wings, and some of us have fallen in the toilet like me, and some of us have toured Europe. So,
Yeah, right.
good
It's
times,
all
man.
relative, man. And what about you, Tricky? What was the first band that you were ever in, mate?
The first band I was ever in was called The Failed.
The Failed.
Yeah.
Sensing something
And
here.
it fucking failed hard. But same thing, we were doing Nirvana tracks as well. I was jamming something in the band room at school one day, and
Which Nirvana songs?
we did Smells Like Teen Spirit and Floyd the Barber.
Ah!
Mm.
We did pretty much stuff off of Unplugged. So we did all the Meat Puppet stuff, like Lake of Fire and Oh Me and stuff like that. Yeah.
I remember doing Aneurysm
Ooh.
with my first band.
Yeah, nice.
That was a great track.
What was
So
your first
angry.
band?
The name of it.
Mm.
The name of the first band was X-Rated Jumping Castle.
Oh.
Dude.
Fucking awesome.
Give him
band
the
name.
fucking trophy.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think the reason behind it was there used to be this it wasn't underage, but it was like a teenage event in the Metro on a Thursday called the Goo. And I heard a friend of mine had gone to this Goo thing, he'd gotten into it, and they had an X-rated jumping castle inside the club. And we're like, that's a great name for a band. And so we called the name, the band that. But then after that, we changed the name to hemoglobin, which apparently is the stuff that attaches itself to the red blood cells to provide oxygen to the body. Yeah.
The hemoglobin globetrotters.
That was it.
X-rated
Hemoglobin. Oh, man. I remember we even put together a little EP. I recorded it, right? And I recorded this little CD, and I made it an assignment for my graphics class. So I put all the artwork together. I took photos of the band, and, you know, I've still got the CD at home, and it's one of my favourite mementos,
Cool,
of the guys. Hey, enough about me. What about you guys? How often now, the Sunset Junkies, how often do you get out of your own town and tour and do gigs?
Well, this is probably the third time we've gotten out of Brisbane and surrounds. Like, I don't really count going as far as the sunny coast.
Yeah, we
know.
do a lot of regional sort of stuff, but it's tougher to get out and do, you know, Melbourne.
And Sydney,
Sydney's
Newcastle.
Just a shithole.
Yeah, Sydney's hard to
music-wise, I
crack.
guess it's hard to crack.
Sure.
I don't know if
It
you
definitely is
fellas
at the moment too.
have felt like that, but yeah, this is our second time in Melbourne. We'd like to get down here more often if we can.
Live music capital of the world.
Yeah.
This got nominated
I
like a
think
week
Trump,
ago.
I think Trump tweeted it, and now it's like gospel.
Oh, now it's hot. Yeah.
Is that a real
Well,
thing?
If
Oh,
God
yeah,
says
Yeah,
It's
man, I
got-
saw it like a week
yeah.
ago. Melbourne got voted the live music capital of the world.
Wow.
I don't know who
Which-
voted it or whatever.
That's that's fantastic.
It could just be Melbourne City Council. trying to
Yeah, that's
represent
true. Just
It was
some
James Young,
solid propaganda.
putting it out there themselves to get some more tourism down to
future
Melbourne.
mayor of Melbourne, James
Bands
Young.
won't make any more money, but at least the punters will come out.
Well, that's it. We've got to do something to get the punters into the clubs. Hey, well, so
Maybe an X-rated jumping castle.
hey, that would be epic. I would love to go to a club with an X-rating jumping castle in it. Basically, what it was two boobs and a big penis in between the two boobs. So you'd jump on the dick, and it would go in between the boobs.
That is so fucking awesome.
Why are we
So-
still sitting here?
I know. We should get one for
Yeah,
the
but-
next show.
Where have you been all my life?
Sounds like a
It
dream.
was pretty wild. Talking about wild things, what was the best gig that you guys have got the opportunity to play to? Can you tell me that?
Broadbeach, I reckon.
Yeah, I think we
Would be
could probably
mine.
all say a thing or two about
Broadbeach was great.
Broadbeach,
Yeah.
the festival up in Broadbeach.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
Broadbeach.
Blues on Broadbeach.
Blues on
That's
Broadbeach.
what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was last year, was it?
Yeah.
Man, that feels like longer
Yeah,
than
they
a
sort
year.
of
It does
spread
feel so
bands
long
throughout Broadbeach area, and
Yeah.
we ended up in a venue called the Envy Hotel,
Yeah.
and
Upstairs at the
it's
Envy.
a pretty big venue. I reckon you get
Mm.
maybe 350, 400 in there, and it was yeah,
250 to 3.
packed. Though,
Ram.
man.
It
Yeah,
was packed.
All right then, whatever. But yeah, shoulder to shoulder,
Yes.
absolutely insane. We did a 2 hours plus set,
Oh
Mm.
wow.
Yeah.
dripping with sweat.
Straight.
Yeah.
It was the day after Chris Cornell, sadly,
Mm.
and we opened with a
You and Richie did the
Yeah.
piano
song.
voice version
Oh,
of
that was
Black Hole
beautiful
Sun,
too.
and lots of tears.
Oh man, that
Yeah.
would have been amazing.
Yeah, it was hard for me to get through it.
yeah.
But we got straight into some really rocking shit for the rest of
Man.
it. So
I think when that happened, I think the entire music community just all collectively just
oh yeah, man.
everyone felt it, whether you play rock or whatever you play. As far as just musicians go over the last 50 years, that dude, his voice and
Yeah.
the impact he had on the world,
Unmatched, man.
Yeah.
unmatched.
Mm.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
if you listen
sure.
to our stuff, you'll hear that there is a lot of audio slave kind of influence in there, and that's not a mistake. Like that's
man.
a purposeful thing because we look up to that.
Yep.
To that dude. So yeah, that was so that would have been an amazing show.
Yeah, well, yeah, it started off in that somber sort of tone, but everyone in the room was, feeling a lot of love, and then we just sort of said, well, right, now we're gonna just rock really fucking hard.
Yeah, nice man.
And yeah, it was great. So that was a great one.
And what about the worst? Doesn't have to be with the Sunset Junkies or just any other previous bands like.
Well, let's not do the Sunset Junkies then.
Yeah.
Because they might be.
'Cause they've all been
incriminating.
good.
What's in your mind? I want to know.
Shut up. I do solo cover songs and stuff like that for a living.
Yes.
So I'd have to chalk one of my worst up to, the constant play fucking horses.
Yep.
And me going, I will kill you.
Yep.
That's you could pick any one of those gigs as being my
Yeah,
worst.
most
It's
definitely,
just
man.
shit. But money.
Yeah, well, you'd be hard pressed to be a singer-songwriter in an original band and not have to offset your income by doing covers, especially if that's the only income you have, unless you're working at Bunnings or something. And what about, just because the podcast is called The Art of Touring, so I would be remiss in not asking you of any road stories that you'd like to share, of good ones, bad ones, what's happened, For example, today you guys had to wait how long in the airport to get here?
Too long.
Too long.
Well, you want me to tell today's
Yeah,
story,
go on,
or
you
you want me
tell.
to tell one of my stories?
No, you. All right,
Pick and choose, man.
I'll tell today's story. See, Tricky, he's been around the world playing drums in heavy bands and shit. So he's probably got a lot more stories than I do.
I got a couple.
Today was shit.
That you can remember.
But it was sort of your standard thing. You rock up the airport and, flight delayed and, a whole bunch of bullshit and stuck in cabs and walking through puddles to get to the venue with all your shit. And then
With
you
a
find
hole in your shoe, too.
a hole in your shoe. I got gaff on my shoe here. I didn't put
that
enough
is
gaff
rock and
on.
roll right there. Look at that gaff. Now, that
You
isn't
piece
a
of
quick
shit.
fix from today. That has been
No,
there for a
that's
few
that's
years.
bad. I refuse to replace these boots.
But if the gaff is working, then keep making
Okay,
it
it
work.
looks like the back's
Yeah.
starting to fall off him too.
Dude,
In
gotta
gaff,
get those
in gaff we
recobbled.
trust. In gaff we trust.
Fantastic. Well, yeah. Well, then I will direct this one to you, Dan. Any stories from the road?
Going to Adelaide to play a festival, and it was my first time ever playing in Adelaide, let alone playing a festival with a metal band I used to play in. It was the band I was playing in's label that was running the festival, so we got put on an awesome time slot. It was a multi-stage thing, so rolled up at 10 in the morning, and we were playing at 5, roughly, maybe 6 o'clock,
Yep.
something like that. This is a long time ago now. It's like, all right, dropped all our gear off and thought, oh, we haven't eaten breakfast yet. Let's go down to the local pancake place, get some breakfast.
Yeah.
Rolled in, and they're like, oh, we ordered breakfast. Like, would you like anything to drink? Like, are you serving beers? Yes. Oh,
At breakfast.
bring out some beers. A couple of beers at breakfast, ate some pancakes,
What could
Canadian
go wrong?
breakfast. It was brilliant. Turned back up to the venue, and they had a deal going where they were like, all right, for the bands, we're only doing this deal for the bands. You can buy a carton for cost price. We'll give it to you. You go and drink it. Yes, please. Give me a carton. It's like $40. Gave it to me in a milk carton. I had a milk crate.
Sure.
So I was running around the backstage area of the festival. Just a milk crate full of beer. Hey man, you want a beer? Just
Yeah.
hand them it out.
Cans or were they bottles?
Bottles.
Bottles.
Bottles of Cooper's. Cooper's Red Label.
Fantastic.
Mm.
Dangerous.
So yeah, we were hitting them hard, man. So it hit about 3 o'clock in the arvo. I'm swaying like left and right. Oh man, I'm pretty wasted. Maybe I should stop drinking for an hour before we go on stage. Said it to my singer. I'm like, dude, I'm pretty wasted. He's like, yeah, stop drinking. Like, I don't want to hear about this. Like, whatever. So settled down for a little bit. We played the show. We played really well. And then we did. We actually played good. All the reviews were great. Walked off stage. The party continued. Guitarist in my band was an older fellow. So as the festival was wrapping up and everyone was going to go to the after party, he's like, all right, I'll take all the gear back. I'll go to where we're staying. And we're staying with our label in a place, they called it the Devil's Lounge. So at the back of the house that the label owned, they had a shed set up, just literally bunk beds, a stereo, a fridge. So whenever bands would roll through town, get to go and hang out the back. He's gone to bed. We've all gone to the after party. The party in Enigma Bar in Adelaide. Just wild, man. It got to a point where I was that wasted I could barely walk. Security guards propped me up on a chair at the bar and handed me another beer. Like it was that type of party. It was awesome.
Just keep going, mate.
All jumped in cabs. All went back to the label's house. And when we've got back there, label's wife, Kaz, the mama, she's like the tour mum, band mum,
Sure.
starts making daiquiris. Cam, my guitarist, wakes up. He's got like 6 hours sleep. We've all been out partying. He comes out all fresh. Like, oh, yeah, man, I'll start having some drinks. Sun's starting to rise in Adelaide. We've been drinking since 10 the day before.
Yeah.
Everyone starts partying. Daiquiris. We went for a run down to the shop, got bacon and eggs. We're doing a cook-up. Hits like 10, 11 in the morning. We start peeling off. People start going to bed because we're flying out of Adelaide at 5 that night.
Oh, man.
Or we had to wake up at 5 to fly out at 7 or something like that. But as we all peeled off, Cam, who'd gone home and slept all night, was still drinking. Sitting out in the sun, and he was a pretty pale dude too. He's drinking daiquiris, like not drinking water or nothing. So alarms start going off. We all start waking up to catch the flight home after this huge party.
Yeah.
Walk out the back, and here he is, sitting in this chair, just daiquiri in hand, laxed out, red as a fucking lobster, man, just sunburnt to shit, and just talking gibberish.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, oh my God, Cam, you alright? I'm fine. I'm like, oh, all right. Well, we're going to go sit inside and we'll start getting ready. But we're sitting in the lounge room. We're watching like a soccer game or something. Everyone's feeling sorry for themselves. And he never had a proper case for his head. So he used to wrap it in like this foam/bubble wrap and would tape it all up. And that's how he'd send his head through the airport and travel with it. And this was an angle head, like $5,000 tube amp.
Richie Blackmore.
Just wrap this shit up in whatever he could find.
Oh, my God.
It worked. Like it never had any damage or anything like that. We're sitting in the lounge room. He comes stumbling in after a full day drinking.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, where's the stuffing? I'm like, where's the what? He's like, where's the stuffing? Like, what are you talking about? He's like, where's the stuffing? We all look at each other. I'm like, we didn't eat turkey or chicken or nothing, man. Like, there's no stuffing here. What are you fucking talking about? He's getting frustrated. He's red, sunburnt, like just radiating heat, wasted, sort of swaying a bit. He's like, this fucking stuffing, man. Where's the stuffing? We got no idea what you're talking about, dude. He's like, and starts sort of Pictionarying this shit. You know?
Making hand gestures like this. Looks like this.
Fucking this. And someone clicked and he's like, is he talking about what he wraps his head in? And that was it, man. Just laughter. We started laughing our fucking ass off. He's talking about what he wraps all his shit in. He's like, yes, the stuffing. So that was it. Like, the whole way to the airport. Where's the stuffing? We got him to the airport. We somehow got him through security because he was wrecked.
Yeah.
It was like at the
you're
point
too
where
drunk.
you shouldn't be allowed to fly.
No.
It's going to be interesting to
Got him inside. He was leaning against the column, and we were all sort of coming up and poking him like, hey, Cam, you all right? Fuck off, leave me alone. So Dad said, man, as red as fucking Pro Tools right now.
Yeah.
Just lobster. Just could not believe it. Made it through, but that was one of the things, like, for years after that. We'd be out drinking. He'd come up, hey, man, hey, it's going. I was like, where's the stuffing? Like, if we were ever looking for him, where's the stuffing?
Where's the stuffing?
It's like, hey, stuffing!
Fantastic.
I need to see his head pop up. Like, oh, I'm over here.
Oh, wow. Well, that is a fantastic tour story. Thank you for sharing with us, Tricky. My goodness.
One of those things, man. It's, every band has their own little inside jokes, and that was one of the things I always found. It's like, regardless of what they've been through, where they're from, every band has like the little inside jokes.
Yeah. Most of our in jokes come from like stupid YouTube videos and shit like that. So there's a lot we could tell that just wouldn't even get across.
Yeah, right.
Because we're just fucking idiots. And we have a very particular sense of humor in this band. And it's pretty dark.
Well, do you guys have a band chat on Messenger where you can talk?
Oh, yeah, it's just memes and insults.
Yeah.
And like the blackest, most terrible memes you'll ever see.
And it's something you would never share with anyone outside of the band.
Could never.
If you put your phone down and that chat is open, you're in trouble.
No, well, we have like-minded friends that we share. Like, we're not the only absolute horrible people that we know. So
Sure, yeah.
there are people that we do share our memes with, but they need to fit the bill, you know. Like I showed my dad a meme the other day, and he just almost fucking disowned me.
It must have been pretty bad, man.
Oh, it was standard for us, but he just looked at me like, "What the fuck have you done with your life?"
Oh, man. Well, if I can change gears for just a moment,
Sure.
I wanted to talk to you a little, because we're going to wrap it up here pretty soon, but I did want to touch on a couple of things. Now, I did a little bit of a deep dive into your YouTube channel this afternoon, and I got to watch a couple of your live shows from the past, and also some video clips. Now, there was one from last year, Young Man's Dream. Now, I'd like to ask you guys, before I put any of my input in, what is that song about?
I've had some periods in my life where I've been quite debaucherous.
Okay.
And, I've found myself feeling like an old, decrepit piece of shit way beyond my years because I brought it upon myself.
How old are you, by the way?
I'm 31.
31?
Yep.
You don't look a day past 32, mate. You
So, my
I
wife
would've
says I
said
look
40.
12. But
Back 12.
yeah, so that at the best of times. But yeah, this Young Man's Dream is probably about hope in the face of that sort of, oh man, I'm a wreck of a man, but I've still got a young man's dream.
Oh, okay.
There's still hope for the future.
Yeah, I like
know?
that. That's
Mhm.
actually really cool.
Thank
That's great. Because if I could kind of just glean from the lyrics and watching the film clip, especially at the end, when you're kind of basking in the water there,
Yeah.
and the three lovely maidens kind
Take
of
me down.
take you down, I
Mm.
was like, is this song about a threesome? Like,
I think probably at the heart of it, every song is about a threesome.
right. Well, it's actually foursome, really, because there's three women, isn't
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And what about the new single, the latest single, the rebranded single, Sunset Junkies? We've disbanded from Byron Short and the Sunset Junkies. The new look for the band, Inertia, the latest single. Again, we've got another beautiful women. Where do you find these women that are willing
It's the same
to...
chick.
It's the same chick.
Wow.
One of the chicks in the Young Man's Dream video was happy to star in our new video. Her
Yeah.
name's Georgia Ellison. She's an actress
Yes.
up our way, a Gold Coast girl. And she's, 19 or 20 or something. She's extremely talented. She does all sorts of things. She
Mm.
spent time over in, like, New York film school or acting school or some shit. And she got a huge future. So we're just lucky that we caught her in a space where she's keen to do stuff for
Yeah.
not much money, Like, she's a great chick. Great to work
Well,
with.
it's a very cool clip. I was going to ask, did the post-production on it, all of the 3D kind of stuff where she's holding up the orb of the galaxy in her palms, that must have cost a bit, surely.
That was all done in Germany too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it did cost a little bit. I'm still paying it off.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, there was a visual effects dude called Philip Lykostratus, who is based in Germany, who got that whole ball rolling. And then our director, actually, Daryl Lee Irvine, he sort of took that and ran with it, and he ended up creating a lot of the visual effects, like the thing in her hands and all of that
Yeah.
stuff, and the stuff that's projected on her body. Yeah, we...
It's all custom made for the clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool, man.
Yeah.
And so you did touch on something that kind of leads me into my next question, and that was family and the stresses that touring can take on the family. So have you guys married, kids? Like, who's got what?
Yeah, I'm married with a kid, one on the way.
Yep.
And it's all right because my wife's always known that this is what I want to do.
Sure.
So, and she doesn't really like me being around the house anyway. So
She's like, yep, we got another gig. Fantastic. Get out
that's
of
it.
here.
Get out. Get
Yeah.
out.
I'm recently married, 6 or 7 months.
Yep. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, look,
No little Byron Shorts running around yet?
not yet. Not
Just
that I
this
kn-
one.
Well, you're fucking. Yeah. Look, my wife Tina, has always been very supportive and understanding.
Yeah.
We haven't been together too long by comparison with some other people, a few years. But she's got a radio show herself, and she's a big music fan, live music appreciator. So she knows what it's all about, and she knows how much you have to put into this if you're gonna get close to success. So she's supportive, very supportive. You know, it doesn't mean there's not, you know, bumps in the road and all that sort of stuff. You know, when you're always coming and going, it's shit. You know, I just want to lay in bed with my cat. Like, I don't really want to be here.
That's a good way to start a gig, isn't it? I really want to be here, boys, but we're here, so...
It's at the heart of it.
We're
you know
used
what I
to
mean? Like,
it, man.
it's fucking hard yakka is what I'm getting at.
Sure.
It's like, you know, this is the fun part, getting on stage and doing the gig. But
yes.
Like, all of the shit that precedes it is a fucking headache, man.
Yeah, man. That
and
45 minutes when you're on stage, it makes it all worth it.
That
man.
does make it worth it.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think that's why we're all here, isn't it?
That's
yeah.
it.
Oh,
That's it.
Absolutely.
If I could bring my cat, that'd just be awesome.
What about you, Tricky? You got any family back home that's waiting to see you?
That's a
I'll-
tough one.
Yeah, Tricky's got a girl in every port, don't you?
He's the playboy of the group.
That's a lie.
I've just started seeing a girl.
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
not
Is she your girlfriend, Dan?
It's, I
Go
don't
on.
know.
Don't
She
put any
hasn't
labels on it,
labeled.
mate.
She hasn't labeled that yet.
She hasn't. What about you?
She
Dan?
hasn't. Have I labeled it?
Yeah.
You labelled it when you
I'm-
friggin' met her, you piece of shit.
Oh, I kind of did, yeah, a little bit.
Did.
Suppose no, but for my formative years, I did. I
Sweetheart.
went through years of touring. Like went overseas with while I was all with one girl, and we split up at the start of last year.
Yep.
And now I've only just met another one, and we're sort of starting
Yeah.
to see how it goes and what's going to happen. But
And do you feel that the touring had a little bit of an impact on your relationship and how it ended?
absolutely,
Absolutely. Yeah,
absolutely, it took years for her to start to come around to sort of realise that this is part of the gig.
Yeah, part of the
As
deal
such.
when you sign up for
Yeah.
But do you think that's why it sort of broke down in the end as
No.
well?
No, I don't.
No, it would have been other
No.
factors, but that
Yeah,
would have been
there
one
was
of
a
them.
lot.
Sure,
No, I
yeah.
don't think that was a factor.
Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe because I was I was
We're
still
trying to tell a
chasing the
story
dream-
here, mate.
trying to chase a dream, and that did get in the way a little bit. But
Yeah.
there's no reason why it can't work
Mm.
as well.
Oh, definitely. I guess when you're looking at it from a relationship point of view, when one of the people in the relationship is absent for an extended period of time, 4 or 5 times a year, however often you're playing, it's obviously going to take a toll on the
Yeah.
relationship, and
Mm.
it takes a special person to be able to support that, especially when you're at the grassroots level of
Yeah.
performing.
Yeah.
You aren't selling out arenas. I'm sure if there was a partner that was with someone before they were famous or before they were successful, and they were there with them the whole way, and then they got to enjoy the fruits of that person's labor, then that's awesome. But if it's just 20 years of going to play the local
Failure.
pub, you could see how it could start
Absolute
to
failure.
get tired.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I guess kudos to all those the partners out there that put up with reprobates
All our shit.
like us. We can tie it into the beginning. Hey boys, thanks so much for coming and being a part of the first ever episode of The Art of Touring with the Sizz Dog.
Big black dog, I am the
The dog.
Show me your hall pass.
Can you tell the lovely people out there where we can find Sunset Junkies online on the internet? Where can we find you?
Inertia is our debut single for all purposes.
Yep.
You can find it everywhere. Apple Music, iTunes, Spotify, that evil demon.
YouTube.
There's a great video, like you
Oh,
said, with
jeez.
that,
Yep.
with that
Add me a
chick in
Coke.
there.
And you guys have the
Wine.
Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, all of the platforms.
We got all the platforms. We
Yep.
Some dandruff.
we follow Donald Trump on Twitter.
Right.
And we retweet a lot of his stuff. So if you want to keep up to date with the whole Syria debacle, then
Yeah. You're the first
follow
point of
Sunset
call.
Junkies
Fantastic.
all over it.
Well, thanks again, boys, and we will see you on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you,
touring your
sir.
butts off. Thanks,
Yep.
guys. Cheers.
Peace,
Thanks,
mate.
dog.
Well, there you go. That's the end of Art of Touring, the podcast, episode 1. Thanks so much for listening to this conversation. If you liked it, then give the podcast a share on social media. Use the hashtag Art of Touring Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, and give us a follow at Art of Touring on Instagram and at art_of_touring on Twitter. Also, you can go check out my band, Smokestack Rhino. We're on Instagram and Facebook, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, Twitter, even our very own website, www.smokestackrhino.com. And there you can keep up to date with all our gigs. And, give us a chuck on Facebook. All the events are up there as well. If you'd like to get in contact with me, you can do so. Don't hesitate. You can email me directly at artoftouringpodcast@gmail.com. Maybe you'd like to come on the show. If you're a touring muso, hit me up. I'd love to hear from you. You can listen to Art of Touring on multiple platforms, on SoundCloud, iTunes, and I'll even throw this up on YouTube. That's a wrap for this week, gang. Not sure how often I'll be able to release these podcasts, hopefully at least once a month, so please hit that subscribe button so you'll get a notification on when the next episode will be available for download. But before I go, I do have a few shout-outs. Shout out to Chris Wall, who designed the artwork for the show. You can follow him on Instagram at Mr. Wall. So that's Mr. and then Wall spelt W-A-H-L. Massive thanks to my guests this week, Byron, Dan, and Jeremy from Sunset Junkies. Shout out to the Cherry Bar for allowing us to take over the back bar there to record the very first episode. And now let's get into some plugs. My band, Smokestack Rhino, we are playing in Melbourne at the Spotted Mallard on May the 12th, alongside some amazing acts like Gay Paris, Child, Born Lion will be there. It's for the Meltdown Festival. It starts at 2 p.m. We are on stage at 3 p.m. and tickets are available through Mosh Tix. And the following week, we'll be playing up in Hillsville at the Herd Bar on Saturday, May 19th. So head on over to the Smokestack Rhino Facebook page for all the details. That's all from me this week. Thanks again for listening. Tune in next time for another episode of Art of Touring with the Sizz Dog. Oh, oh, oh! Remember, this week's podcast was brought to you by Cup of Tea and Toast.